I have zero intention of paying this debt. By user MMP Cats. Former roommate fell out with me after I required them to actually pay rent and take care of themselves, and apparently their grand revenge plan was to give my phone number to all the creditors they have defaulted to. This means I get calls nearly every day asking for a former roommate from different banks and lenders. It's annoying as hell, and they don't seem to understand that I neither know nor could care less where the person they're looking for is, so I've started responding with the line in the title when they ask for the former roommate. I've checked and locked down my credit. The culprit here isn't bright enough for identity theft, and if they were, this would be a legal case and not a Reddit post. I don't say anything except I have zero intention of paying this debt, which is true because it is not my debt, and occasionally following up with you may have to sue to get that money, which is also true as far as I'm aware. And then I hang up. Sure showed me, bud. Showed me you've defaulted on multiple lines of credit and are now running like hell from them. Kept leaning on me on a bus. Enjoy the floor, Mom. This happened recently on a semi-crowded bus. I was standing in the middle of the bus. Although there was plenty of space around, this woman decided to stand right next to me. After a few moments, she started leaning her shoulder against mine. I politely asked her to move a little away since it was uncomfortable. I thought this was basic manner. She did, but only for a few minutes. Then she came back again to use me as her human pillar. I can even tell how pissed off I was. So I decided to take my petty revenge. Once she got comfortable using me as her support again, I suddenly took a step back without warning. So she lost her balance and fell down right away. Stood up, looked at me. Didn't say a word and stood well away from me for the rest of the ride. Edit. I think I need to mention a few things. 1. I am a girl. A lot of you guys thinking I am a guy. The woman looked perfectly fine, no visible health issues. If that was the case, I'd never do this to her. I am not that insensitive. I can tell she wasn't a pickpocket because my bag was on my other shoulder and she had her back against me. I am so careful with these things. The weather was hot and humid and that situation was sweaty. That's why I was more pissed off than I would have been on a normal day. He kept stealing our bar stool, so I got him a standing ovation by user Swedal. Happened at a small resto bar in Quezon City last month. My friends and our girls out were at a high table, the kind with bar stools, just vibing after work. We had 4 seats, but one of my friend went to the restroom, so the stool was temporarily free. FYI, the place only had a limited number of stools. The S1 of those bars where they expect most people to stand or rotate around. Enter this random dude in a polo and vape cloudor. He walks over without asking, grabs her stool, and drags it to his table. I said, hey, someone is sitting there. He shrugs and goes, well, she is not here now, is she? We let it go for now. My friend comes back, sees her seat gone, and stands awkwardly. The guy doesn't even look our way. Here's where it gets fun. About 20 minutes later, he and his barcada friends all get up for a smoke. I walk over, grab his stool, and bring it to our table. Then I wave over the staff and quietly explain the situation. She nods and says, noted, Mom. Guy comes back, sees his stool is gone, and storms over. That's mine. I sipped my beer and said, well, you're not sitting now, are you? He glares, walks to the staff, and she tells him straight-faced, sorry sir, no more extra seats, you can stand and wait for one to free up. He stood the rest of the night, right next to an electric fan that kept blowing his hair up like a bad shampoo ad. Take my clothes out of the dryer. Have fun walking home in your underwear. This happened about 15 years ago in Jackson, MS. My then girlfriend and I were living in an apartment complex on the outskirts of Jackson. We didn't have a washer or dryer in the apartment yet, so we had to use the community coin-operated units attached to the leasing office and pool. One night, after I had returned home from work, I wanted to get some laundry done so I could just relax the next day. So, I took my laundry basket across the parking lot, ran them through the wash cycle, then came back for my unit to put them in the dryer. When I got back to my unit again, I realized a stray wet sock had stuck to the side of the basket, so I had to run back over to throw it in. When I got to the dryer, which was the only one in use at that point, I found my clothes had been removed from the dryer, tossed into the dryer below it, and a few shirts, jeans, and socks in its place. They smelled like chlorine, so I had a pretty good idea what happened here. To confirm, I snuck around the back and spied 3 late teens/early 20s swimming in their underwear. It was mid-August, so I figured they had jumped in with their sweaty clothes on, then found a paid for dryer running and decided to save the $1 and screw me over instead. I was pretty mad about what I found, so I switched the clothes back and was about to put their wet clothes in the low dryer again before I had a better idea. I took the clothes, walked over to the large garbage can, and tossed their clothes under the garage bag between the liner and the inside of the garbage can. Then, I waited the last 25 minutes and took my clothes back as quickly as I could. I guess I wasn't quick enough because I heard some panicked voices calling after me when I was almost back inside my apartment. Hey, excuse me, wait. I locked the door behind me, but a few seconds after, there was loud knocking on my door. I opened the door and before me stood a dripping wet young woman and two equally wet young men. They immediately accused me of stealing their clothes. I simply said, well, no, these are mine. I had the only dryer in use at the time, the top one to the far left. I knew they wouldn't come out and say they stole my dryer, so I just kept staring at them, then asked if there was anything else they needed. They tried to say I must have been mistaken and taken their clothes also, so I pulled my laundry basket out and shifted some clothes around and said nope, they're all mine. They were forced to give it up and walk back to wherever they came from in their underwear. The worst part is that it had been a hot and rainy summer up to that point, so the mosquitoes were out in full force. I'm sure that was an itchy walk home. Edit, as one person has already helpfully and candidly noted, and several people have less helpfully pointed out, I understand it's spelled clothes, not cloths. I have corrected this for maximum enjoyment. My roommate kept eating my snacks, so I filled a bag of chips with broccoli by user Lushkush. Living with a roommate who keeps stealing your snacks is honestly a special kind of hell. I am not talking about the occasional oops, I thought it was mine. I mean every single time I buy chips, they magically disappear within 24 hours. And it's always the good stuff too. Never the oatmeal. Never the canned corn. Just my chips. I brought it up a couple times and got the usual, oh, I thought we were sharing excuse. We were in tea. So one day, I decided to try something different. I took an empty bag of sour cream and onion chips, filled it with raw broccoli florets still cold from the fridge, resealed it, and casually left it on the counter. Like bait. Not even an hour later, I hear the bag crinkle, followed by dead silence, then the sound of the fridge opening, like he was trying to put the broccoli back where it came from. I didn't even look up, I just said, hope it was worth it. He hasn't touched my food since. In fact, he labeled all his snacks now. Broccoli 1. Snack thief 0.